Hello, everyone. Welcome to the greatest Rotary Club in the. All right, invocation. Eric Johnson.
Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, be present in our meeting today. Give us your grace and grant us the wisdom and knowledge to speak honestly and respectfully with compassion for others. In his holy name, amen.
Amen. Thank you for asking for grace. I'm going to need it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will build goodwill and better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned? And how about a song, Darrell?
A song. I'm reminded always of Norm Curtis. Many of you know him. He always used to start off and have a song, but he would say, let's sing one that we all know, right? But not all of us knew it. We do all know this one. I've been working on the railroad. I've been working on the railroad all my livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Don't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn. Can't you hear the captain shouting? Dinah, blow your horn. Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Strumming on the old banjo and singing fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, fee-fi, fiddly-I-O, strumming on the old banjo.
Okay. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Visiting Rotarians? Okay, how about any guests of Rotarians? It is a local crowd today. Okay. Club business, Josh Allen. You want me to talk about it? Okay, Josh is going to be passing around a sign-up sheet for a work party. It's September 11th. September 13th, which is a Saturday. This is a work party that we sold at the auction. How many people are you looking for? Many as he can get. All right. And that's making its way around? Great. And Carl Garrison.
Fellow Rotarians, it's time to play golf. We got our Fall Classic, two-person scramble coming up on September 4th. Underneath this flyer is a sign-up sheet. There's actually two sign-up sheets. One is for golfers, and the one on the very back is for attendees that want to just come out and enjoy dinner with the golfers afterwards. So please feel free to sign up for that. I'm starting to get a little smarter in my old age. I got everybody's email, mostly who came last year. So I'll send out a similar announcement by email. And if you can either sign this or email me that you're going to, you plan to attend, then we can do the meal planning. That's the most important part of this, is getting the right amount of food so we don't waste it. On my committee, Sheena, you're here. You were maybe cart person, and you're in. Woohoo! It's getting better all the time, guys. We got a cart gal. I love it. Travis Heisman, you're on the team. Okay. Chad Paulson, Joe Jones, Brock Stiles, Steve Huggins. Steve, you're in charge of paying for it. Dan Hockett, Mark Nelson, Eric Johnson, Tim Lair, Darrell Heisler, and Joellen Kesty. Joellen not here? She helped with the day of event stuff that she knows how to do very well. I hope to get that. If your name was mentioned, please volunteer to do something for the tournament so that I don't have to voluntold you to do something. And I look forward to a great time. I'm going to actually be there this year, so I'm looking forward to it. And my 89-year-old dad might join me as my twosome. So, all right, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. Any other club business? Yes.
Just a reminder that this Sunday is our very last show of the season for the summer concert series, and we got a great one lined up. So if you haven't had a chance to come out and check it out, please come out this Sunday, 6 to 8, Riverfront Park, and you'll get a makeup for it too if I see you. So.
And Chris, thanks again for all your work on that. Okay, raffle.
Hey, who's my helper here? Do we have a helper?
There's a couple extra, there's a vase of flowers, and there's also a couple of car washes, free car washes. It's a specific day, but free car washes. Number 69.
Sergeant Armcase, $2.
That's me.
Next number is 4. And the next number is 39. Last number is 45. Okay, Dan.
All right, let's go. So first Seahawks preseason game tonight, right? We all excited for that? Seahawks. Let's go. Okay, I'll do a C. Go. C. 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 Go. So also we got the Mariners playing, and I think they made some good moves the trade deadline, and they're on a roll. I think we're in the feeling for that. Come on now, Carl. So it's all about Seahawks and Mariners today. So let's go with Seahawks first, this table. Let's go with who started the most career games for the Seahawks? A position. Any final answer? We good? Which one? It's gonna be $2. Steve Largent. Let's go with who's number 2 on that list. No, I actually, if you probably name one of the names you just said, you'd probably get it right. You got a 50-50 chance between you two. Which one? Just gotta pick one. You got a 50-50 chance right there. Walter Jones. Just $2 on that one. All right, let's go right here. Who has the most records for touchdowns scored for the Seahawks? All time. Sean Alexander, $2. Scored lots of touchdowns. So I'll just follow that up. Who's second? You got it. All right, I'm gonna switch the mirrors over here, guys. What year did the Mariners last win the AL West division? They're debating on 2001 or 2002. Which one is it? Final answer, 2002, 2001. $2. So they've won it 3 times in their career, right? In the franchise history. So what are the other 2 times they won before that? You got it. Good job. All right. Let's do this one. How many no-hitters have the Mariners had in history? Total no-hitters in history. It's got to be a low number because it's doesn't happen very often. 4? That final answer? 6. $2. And so there's 6, but there's 5 that were individual. Can you name? Can you name 2 of them? Which pitchers pitched those? 2 of the 5? There you go. I made it easy on you. I didn't make you name all 5. But all 5 are Raymond Johnson, Chris Biggio, Felix Hernandez, Iwakawa, and James Paxton. All right, good job. I'm going to give this table a break. We're done. I can do online. How about? Yeah, let's go with $50. Hey, got about $50?
No. Any happy dollars?
Oh, free donation.
Okay, I'm giving happy 20 because Mike and I had a great trip to Austin and our granddaughter was born on Friday, August 1st, baby Viva, and we got to see them multiple times and eat lots of barbecue and, well, Mike did. And we rode in a driverless car, one of the Waymo cars, so that was pretty interesting. We really liked Austin and it was really hard to come home.
I got a happy 10. I found a home for our standing guinea pig. Finally, if anybody saw my post, she's actually going to be a kind of a service animal in the children's therapy room. So I'm excited about that. And then getting close to the demo on my house. So if anybody wants reclaimed wood, now's the time to come grab all that really nice pine out of the caretaker house in the Cedar Grove over by Rothenbuehler's. I'll also have the garage sale. I'll throw it out too. If Travis doesn't get the rest of them, I got blueberries galore around the office. So please come and bring your buckets. And I think I've got 16 fully loaded blueberries and plants. So come on out anytime.
Got a happy 5. We also had a granddaughter born a couple of weeks ago, and Eva Aspen, and she's pretty cute.
Got a happy 20. Last week I had the opportunity to drive down to California with my oldest daughter who turned 16. So I know some of you probably have had that opportunity, but it's my first time having a kid turn 16, and it's pretty emotional. But we had a great time. Hit up 3 theme parks while we were down there, and we rode roller coasters until we couldn't see anymore. So it was a ton of fun, but my oldest is now 16, just got her license, and it's a sad day for the Ronk household.
Okay, I have a happy 10. Dan and I just went to Watershed. It was my first Watershed and I didn't die, so I was very happy about that. And then I followed that up with a girls' trip in Leavenworth. So I just got home yesterday. My car's packed up and my kids and I are getting ready to go to Darrington for a family reunion that we have not seen family in for about 4 or 5 years. So I'm excited about that. And it's my mom's birthday, so yay.
Okay, any other happy bucks? Okay, last quick announcement. On the table up here are new booklets if you want to grab some on your way out. And at this point, a call for early leavers. And I'm going to introduce Darrell, who is going to introduce our program.
Thank you, Travis. In deciding what we're going to do for a program today, I was reminded that there have been a couple of situations that have happened, one to me or my family personally, and then a friend of mine just got hacked and had to pay some money for some bogus scam that was played on them. And so I thought I would share that information. And then I remembered a couple of years ago, Calvin had been here to talk to us about some things that were going on. And I know that this is happening all the time. It continues to keep happening, and the actors continue to try to stay a step ahead of the good guys. And so how many of you have had an email like this that just says, hey, click on this link because this payment attempt failure while renewing your subscription for cloud storage has happened, so they want you to click on the link? How many of you get an email like that at least one a day, one a week, one a month? So we're all getting them. The key is not to click on the link, obviously. Don't, and even if, and my suggestion is, even if you get something from PSE or PUD that it looks legitimate, it still might not be. So it's always best to go directly to the website of the company that you do business with to see if there's something in your account that you need to do something with. So a couple years ago, I got a call from my mom. My mom at that time was 83, and she lived in North Dakota. And she was on her way to a neighboring town about 25 miles away. And she called me and she says, my PayPal was hacked. I said, well, how do you know your PayPal was hacked? Well, they called me, or I got an email that said my PayPal was hacked, and I clicked on the link. I said, okay. So she goes, I'm on my way to New Rockford with $16,000 to put into a machine where I can convert it to cryptocurrency so that I can pay them so the guy can help me with my computer. So I told her okay, we need to stop. turn around, head back to the bank, and we'll talk more when you get there. So she did. And we talked and trying to find out all the information of the things that had happened, but things that happened so fast that she was just going through and doing these things. The first thing that she did when she clicked on the link is they said to call this phone number. And so she called the phone number. She says, they can't be bad people because they sounded so nice. And I said, Mom, we've had this conversation, but we'll have to talk about it some more later. But for right now, we need to fix what's going on. So, but what ended up happening is he was so nice, and he said, well, I can fix this. He says, but you got to run out to Walmart and you got to get an Apple gift card. There's a rack of them out there, and you just got to go out and buy it, and then I'll tell you what you do next. And so she did. She went out there and she paid $500 for two $250 gift cards. And then the guy called her and he says, well, did you get them? He says, yeah. She said, yeah, I got them. Peel off the back sticker and then give me the numbers that are on the back. So she did that, and of course that money is gone immediately. And once he got her to do that, then he said, okay, so we got the first part of it fixed. That part of it I got fixed, but they're still trying to get into your system. I can see them in your system. And convinced her that she needed to go to the bank and get this money and then go and convert it to cryptocurrency. And then he would help her through that process. So luckily, at least, and he was on the phone with her while she was driving till finally she said, I need to call my son. He says, oh, no, you don't need to do that right now. She goes, yes, I do. And so she hung up on him, and she did call me because then she finally sense got to her. But what happened, my point in telling the story is that it's happened so fast. They start getting you, if you get caught in this thing, they want you to do things that intuitively, a lot of times we know we shouldn't do, but we do them anyway, just because we're just afraid that if the longer we wait, the more information they're going to steal off our computer. And so my advice at that point is, and I always told her and my dad the same thing, once that happens, turn your computer off. That's the first thing you do. Turn it off and unplug it. If you get it turned off and off the internet, then right now you've solved part of your problem. So if you get yourself into those situations, the best thing to do is immediately do that. Turn your computer off, unplug it, get it off the internet, and that'll help slow things down a little bit so you can think. Maybe call one of your people trusted people that and say, hey, what should I do? This is what happened, and have them help you through what the next steps are. Another email I get is Netflix. Please update your payment details. Well, Netflix doesn't send these kind of emails out. Apple doesn't send those kind of emails out. And if they did, again, the best thing to do is go directly to the website and make your corrections on the official website of the company that you're doing business with or that you have financial transactions with. And then the last link I have is that there's a link, and I'll email this out to everybody. It's just a link that it's a consumer on how to recognize and avoid phishing scams. Phishing, not like when you're fishing for fish, F-I-S-H, it's P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, phishing scams, where they are trying to get you hooked, trying to get you to click on a link, trying to get you to do something that if you do, then they've got you, and they'll be very nice. And oftentimes what happens is you might get a female voice on the other end, and she says, I need to have you connected to my boss. He can help you out with all this. Or the people that are on there will always sound really nice. They won't necessarily sound foreign. Sometimes they will, but most of the time they won't.
So those were just a couple different examples. And the other person, a friend of mine, had another one where they did the same thing. They had clicked on a link and they had gone to Walmart to purchase an Amazon card for the person. That was the same type of scenario where they're trying to get them to, because those cards, if you've worked with gift cards at all, once you use that code on the back of the gift card, you're not going to be able to get that money back. Like I said, with my mom, thankfully she had the cash from the bank. She took it back, and of course she could deposit it back in. And then the tellers were nice enough to try to help with the Apple gift cards. But once you've given away those codes that are on the back of that card, that's pretty much it. Unless the company that issued the card, they have their own fraud division where they budget money, and sometimes they might say, okay, we'll reimburse you or something like that because we know it's a legitimate mistake or whatever. But that money is gone. They've got it, and they're going to be using it for something else. So next up, I want to bring up Calvin Rutherford to do a presentation on the things that he's been working on with cybersecurity. Yes.
All right, here we go. Okay, so I think about 2 years ago, almost exactly, we had a quick conversation and I presented in terms of cybersecurity, the phishing, the scams, all of those things. We're going to do kind of a similar thing today, going off those stories. Sadly, what Darrell talked about is way too common, but I thought we'd first start with a quick lay of the land, and then we'll talk about how cybersecurity and phishing and scams affect you personally and how to protect yourself, as well as from a company standpoint. Because what we're seeing right now is attacks both in terms of individuals and then in corporations, in municipalities, in education, everywhere. So since the last time we talked, sadly, things have not gone better in the cybersecurity industry. In the last 2 years, we're seeing 500 to 1,000% increases in almost every single type of attack, which is pretty terrible. Just last year, phishing emails went up 400%. Ransomware, which is targeting corporations and education all over the place, is up from an average ransomware demand was 400,000 in 2023, and we're now past $2 million. The average breach costs about $5.1 million this year. And even for something like a small school district, we're doing a lot in education, so this one comes to mind. The minimum they'll pay out for a ransom if their system is breached is $2 million. And that's for LaConner or Concrete or some of these other smaller school districts. They're seeing a $2 million hit. So obviously, these are not good things. There are things that you can do to better protect yourself that we'll talk about in a little bit. But the challenge is AI is good, but it's also really bad. And the fraudsters and cyber attackers from Russia and here in the States and all over the world, they adopt AI faster and easier than we do. They have less regulations, less rules, less problems that they have to deal with. And so they can adopt these to attack both individuals and organizations and lead to a lot of very expensive problems. But hopefully we can help you at least somewhat solve them. So first, I want to talk about consumer side. So as individuals, the average US adult has about 135 accounts with username and password. That's absolutely ridiculous. Every single one's supposed to be unique. There's supposed to be 10 plus characters now. They have to have an exclamation point or a special character and caps and all that. I've been in cybersecurity since 2016 and I don't even have all of my accounts unique. So if you do, first off, huge congratulations. But even if you don't, there are a bunch of ways to better protect yourselves. The first one is turn on MFA. It doesn't have to be for your Facebook or whatever, but any account you actually care about, your PayPal, your, yeah. Oh yes, multi-factor authentication, sorry. So turn on, whether that's sending a text message to your phone to input it or something like a Google Authenticator, use some form of multi-factor authentication. So it's not just a password to get into your bank account, your financial services account, your healthcare, etc. The second one, and I think this is actually my most important, is unique passwords for your important accounts. So what often happens in the fraud field is there are data breaches all the time. And if Darrell or myself or somebody uses the same password across all my different accounts, if one of those accounts is compromised, they will then say, okay, well, Calvin had an account here. We have his credentials. We're now going to try and log into Bank of America, Chase, all of these other areas that I could have an account, and then clear out any money that's in there, clear out any information, cause a whole bunch of damages. So if you can go and make sure your important accounts have unique passwords, it completely eliminates that as an attack vector. And then finally, or not finally, I guess I have two more. Use a password keeper. I highly recommend using a password keeper because they make it much easier to store all your passwords in one spot and have them be secure. And then finally, I wanted to talk about that phishing scam type thing. Oh, go ahead.
So my spreadsheet doesn't work with the password keeper?
So spreadsheet is okay. It's better than nothing. I usually rank it as no password keeper at all, post-it notes everywhere, spreadsheet, Google worksheet or whatever, and then a password keeper. So LastPass, you could do it in Google. There are all sorts of different ways, and I can send over later an example of some password keepers. The idea is it requires some form of authentication or sign-in to be able to see your list of passwords. So I can't just, if I get access to your computer or I get access to your spreadsheet, I'd have all your passwords in one spot. The idea is if you can secure it so that they actually have to break in to be able to access that those passwords, that makes it a lot better.
Yeah, but if you have one company that has all the passwords in one program or file, isn't that potentially dangerous?
Potentially, so the way the passwords are stored is it's all hash data. So it wouldn't actually be able to, if someone breaks into the company, they wouldn't be able to actually get your passwords. It is a problem if you use a weak password to unlock your password keeper, then somebody could break in that way.
Use multi-factor authentication on that password keeper.
Yeah.
Potentially like with your or a text to your phone. That would not allow people to necessarily break into it.
Yes, now that I'm done. So if you use multi-factor authentication on that app or whatever program you're using for keeping your passwords, that means that pretty much you're the only person that's going to be able to get into it through that multi-factor authentication.
The reason I ask is that I signed up for bank fraud protection, and it was no sooner than within 1 month that I started getting money stolen out of that bank account. So I quit the bank fraud protection, and guess what? The fraud went away.
Interesting.
I just want to share, I use an app called 1Password, and with multi-factor authentication, it's a really good app. But the other thing it does for you is it will create the unique password. So you can go in and tell it has to be 10 characters with special characters, and it'll come up with very random, hard to guess passwords, store it for you, and then you can use those directly from the phone to log in.
What's it called, Travis?
1Password.
So with cell phones too, a lot of accounts give you the ability to use biometrics, which is your fingerprint, and
Or your face print. Or your face print.
can't bust that. Or face
Or
print.
face.
Yeah, I always recommend biometrics if possible. Biometrics are going to be a lot more secure than a password. But in some cases, it doesn't make sense or it doesn't work. But if you can make it so that you do use a password keeper and store everything securely, it makes it a lot more secure overall. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the phishing. There are three kind of things that I watch for when I get a phishing email. The first is check what the email address it's coming in from or the phone number it's coming in from. But a lot of the time it'll say in the title, it'll be Microsoft, whatever. And then the actual email address is a whole bunch of random characters and it's from gmail.com. Well, probably not actually from Microsoft, and Microsoft wouldn't ask for this anyways. If you can check that and make sure it's legitimate, it makes it a lot less likely you're going to be tricked. And then the other piece of it is,
do you check that by hovering over that that name? By if you just hover your mouse over it, it'll show you all those characters.
Yeah, that, or it depends if you're on Outlook or Gmail or whatever. All of them have ways to see exactly what the email is. I tend to, you just click on it and it'll pop up what the email address is. And then the other components of it is with the phishing scam, they want to make you panic. They want to put time pressure on it so you don't think about why am I doing this? What am I doing? And so for basically everything you can ever see coming into your email, there is not a 12-hour or 24-hour time pressure. So take your time, see if it's actually legitimate, and don't worry about it too much. And if you teach other people that, I taught my grandma that, it makes it so, oh, this does seem fishy. I'm not going to go pull out a whole bunch of money and send it to them, or I'm not going to go buy these Apple gift cards or whatever. And so having that level of calm when you do receive a phishing email and being willing to kind of take a step back makes it a lot easier to detect and makes it a lot less likely that you're going to lose money or get compromised. Any questions?
The other thing, Kelvin, too, sometimes that happens is sometimes people have told me they didn't click on a link and all of a sudden their computer screen froze and it said, call this number immediately. What do you want to do in that? Again, turn the computer off, restart the computer, and it probably will go away.
Yep. Yeah.
I had a question here. Since you're not brave enough to ask. I was just talking. But it's a good question. Can something happen by just clicking on and opening an email, or do you have to do an action with that email?
So in general, if you open up an email, you're fine. It's if you download an attachment or you click on a link are the two that you have to worry about. So what's happening the most common in terms of clicking on a link is you click on a link and it pops up, say, the Bank of America page or something that looks like Bank of America, and it wants you to sign in. Well, while you're signing in, it's scraping those credentials and using that to open up another session so they get into your bank and they steal your money. So if you don't click on a link and you don't download an attachment, you're totally safe. You can look at any email you want. And so every time I get a phishing email, I click on it, see if it's legitimate or not, check the email, and then I'll report it as phishing. And then it goes out of my inbox, and hopefully, well, supposedly it will eventually make it so I see less of the phishing emails. Hasn't really happened, but we can hope someday. So yes, you're okay to click on the email. Just don't click on any links unless you know what they are, and don't click on any attachments. It's a race.
Good question. Yeah. So what about I use Bitwarden for my password, which has served us well. I'm also concerned about virtual privacy networks or VPNs, turning that on so snooping doesn't happen. And also wanted to know about your thoughts about using like Bitdefender and things, software that is supposed to identify some of these problems. And then how often should we be updating our software, looking for security patches? And then at what point do I use my offsite hard drive to put that vital information I really don't want to go away? What are those multi-layer systems that we should be looking at? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a little bit more on the business side. But in terms of Bitwarden's any top 50 password keeper is one that I would be totally fine recommending. They all basically do the same thing. They all have slight differences, but they're all pretty well set up. VPN is great, especially if you're traveling, because it makes it so that if you're in a coffee shop or whatever, it makes you more secure. I personally use it when I'm traveling. I don't use it at home, but some people feel more comfortable. The idea behind a VPN is just to basically obfuscate where the data is coming from and make it harder for somebody to track you. In terms of backups and when to refresh, you should really be refreshing as soon as a patch comes out. You want to immediately update. I don't talk about it too much because I'm a little bit more on the authentication side, but a lot of ransomware does happen by something called zero-day attacks. That means software is released and there's a problem with it that no one's aware of until it releases, and the attackers immediately come in and target it. And so the company will quickly give a solution, and you want to download and adopt that solution as quickly as possible. And then in terms of backups, most backups I see nowadays are every 24 hours. You can do 1 week or 1 month, depending on how much. And you can also do rolling backups. So you can do some pieces of information are backed up every day or every hour, and then some pieces are backed up every 24 hours or weeks or months. Happy to jump into all of that a little more detail if you want.
All right, don't laugh, Josh. We still have a landline, my wife and I. And I get weird calls on it all the time. And Joanne says, hang up. Is there still problems with landlines such as this?
Oh yeah, I mean, any phone number is going to get targeted, and especially if you answer, it makes you more likely to get targeted in the future. Hang up is a great way to do it. The bank is not going to call you like that. I can't think of any scenario where the bank is ever going to call you and want to tell you about we had fraud or whatever. That isn't going to be how they operate. If anything, they'll send mail, and then you can operate through that. But a fraudster or a scammer, oh yeah, here he's getting a fraud call. Yeah. So I tend to, unless it's a number I don't, or if it's a number I don't know, I am very hesitant to answer. If I do answer, I'm going to assume that it's fraud or a scam before anything else. And if you do that, the odds of you getting compromised are much, much lower.
Right, let them leave you a voicemail, and then if it's one of your bank cards, you can always call the number on the back of the card, so you know that you have the right number that you're calling.
Yeah, or just going to the bank website. So if I get you're overdue on this balance or whatever it might be, always what I'll do is I go to my bank, or I go to my credit card company, or I go to PayPal or whatever. I go to that website and then see what's happening, because I'm not clicking on a link. I'm not giving them any additional information. If it's fraud, I can just see, oh, I don't actually owe any money. If it's if it's actually legitimate, it'll show me, hey, you have overdue balance or whatever it might be. And so if you can do that, it'll make you a lot more secure and a lot less likely to get attacked. Any other questions? And then I'll quickly run through. Oh, go ahead.
You have any fraud experience with Facebook Marketplace or eBay? Not eBay, but what? Nextdoor is a good one, yeah. And then there's one. What's the one with the P symbol? Craigslist. Yeah, so scams are incredibly common there. Another one you'll see sometimes is scams through Venmo or
Cash App.
Cash App. Yeah, any of those peer-to-peer payments. It's really, really hard to tell if something is legitimate or not in a peer-to-peer marketplace. With eBay or anything else, see if the user is a legitimate user that has a whole bunch of feedback. That will make it more likely that you aren't scammed. But the challenge is a lot of the times credit card companies and banks will not protect you. So if you're buying something peer-to-peer, in a lot of ways, cash is actually safer to do, because then you're getting the product as you give them the cash, and you have to just expect that there is some risk of fraud or compromise.
One common one that was on Craigslist for many, many, many years, they're still doing it, is that if you try to sell something on Craigslist, you might get an email saying, I would like to purchase your item. And you say, okay. And they might ask you for your address. And they say, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send you $50 extra just for your trouble. And it's like it's coming from Western Union, but it's really fake. And so they'll have somebody come by to pick up the item, and it looks like you've been given an extra $50 when in fact you haven't, because what they gave you is nothing. So always be aware of those type of scammers as well, especially if someone's just going to give you something sight unseen, but they're going to send someone over to pick it up.
Real fast. Another common one that we see in my line of work, which is real estate, is I'll list a home. It's a vacant listing. They see it, they put it up for rent. And so I'll have people calling me like, oh, I'm in front of this house. This is a for sale sign. I saw it's for rent. I'm like, no, it's not for rent. But in a market like this where rentals are hard to find, they'll sell these people on well, if you send me this amount of money to hold the place, when I get back in town, I'll get you the keys. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, the whole real estate market is one of the top for scams. We see that. We see people listing houses that they don't actually own, and then trying to get in the middle between wire transfers on a purchased house. All very scary and challenging to deal with. So briefly, I want to talk about the corporation, organization, education, municipality side in terms of cybersecurity, because all of us are doing something for work, and it's going to affect, cyber attacks are affecting that more and more. What we're seeing is every single person in an organization is a potential target for fraud. We had a group we were working with recently where the janitor clicked on a link and got his email compromised. And then the janitor, because it was now not him, sent a email to somebody else in the organization and compromised that person. And it moves laterally and vertically through the organization. And it ended up with a wire transfer that was over $250,000 that we caught before it went out, but would have been gone like that. And that type of attack is more and more common. So if you are looking at it from a cybersecurity standpoint, you need multi-factor authentication and preferably strong multi-factor authentication for all your employees. And we're also seeing that training is no longer enough, especially to stop phishing. The phishing emails that were shown earlier were decent, but we're seeing some that are AI generated that are basically perfect. It's almost impossible to tell if they're from a legitimate user or not. And so when that's the case, you need strong multi-factor authentication and strong systems in general to be able to defend. And my last thing is a little bit more of what you should try and do, but that is at this point of time, I would recommend everybody invest or make sure you're investing in cybersecurity from a company standpoint. A lot of prevention is relatively cheap, and we're seeing massive, massive losses if you are hit by ransomware, if you are hit by some of these attacks. So happy to discuss that more. I'm not trying to pitch Asignio or my company at all, but just saying, please do something, because over 28% of small to medium businesses are expected to get hit by some form of cyber attack this year, which is an incredibly high number. The average ransomware demand is over $2 million, which I talked about earlier. And it's a few years dated info, but as of a few years ago, over 60% of small to medium businesses that were hit by ransomware were out of business within 6 months. That's how much impact it can have on your bottom line, on your operations, on your downtime, et cetera. So invest in some form of security, make sure you're backing up your data, and try and do what you can to stay safe. Any other questions, as I just gave you a very depressing and hopefully not too scary presentation?
Calvin, thank you very much. Darrell, thanks for lining that up. Calvin, we normally give a really stellar gift. And because I'm a fill-in today, you're going to get a crisp handshake. I also want to take a quick second and ask Josh, is your father here? Your father? He's here, yeah. And you're both Rotarians? Steve, is your dad here? And you're both Rotarians. So it's okay for, like, if Calvin wanted to be a Rotarian, it's okay, right? His dad's, yeah. All right. I'm going to leave you guys with what's that? I'm going to leave you with a quick thought here. I read this quote this week, and I thought this was really appropriate for Rotarians. It's by a guy named David Orr, who is an activist. He said, "Hope is a verb with its sleeves rolled up." It's not wishful thinking, it's action. I really like that. We're going to leave chairs and tables up, but if you'd help clean up, that would be great. And thank you all.